Hey guys, it's been a long time. It's Ariel X. I'm trying to do something a little bit different with my channel. In the past, I guess it was, it was focused mostly on drone reviews and drone related content. But this time I'm going to shift gears. I don't know if I'll start a second channel, but I'm going to talk about my first Salvia Divinorum experience. So I'm going to reference my notes from the trip because I think it's just helpful. It kind of makes me recall all the things. In fact, I'd encourage anybody who's serious about gaining some benefits from salvia to always try to write down, sometime shortly after you come back, you got to kind of write down what happened. Otherwise, it kind of gets lost. You might remember bits of it, but it's good to just try to at least some little synopses if you can muster up the energy, because you're typically pretty groggy after any kind of salvia dosage or experience. But this is the trip report from January 2nd, 2019, so I'm just going to reference this. This is at about 7, a little after 7 at night. This was the first, I had no real experience with salvia. I just gotten, this was a 10x extract. I put on this record, actually, kind of, fairly low volume. I think it was side 1, maybe the first song, Mas Que Nada or Soulville Samba. It's a great record, but I have to say, having music going while you're tripping on salvia, man, it makes the trip, it actually transforms the trip itself. So I don't know if you could do some pretty cool stuff with that probably if you were so inclined, but I still kind of prefer not with the music because it kind of dominated the trip. So the first thing I can remember is I took, probably 1 or 2 big hits. If my cat, Killer Mike, jumps up here during this, it's fine. He's a good cat. He's just curious now. But anyway, I remember the first thing that always hit me, and hits me still, is the smell, this just smell of salvia when you take a hit, when you burn it. It's just this, I don't know how to describe it. It's a sensory kind of, for me, it's kind of an emotionally connected smell. Like when you smell something from your childhood and it just zips you back to some distant memory, but you can't locate the memory. You don't really know why. And that's a continuous aspect of salvia too, is this continual forgetting and trying to remember something, and this just constant sense of deja vu. Like you've had this or smelled this before, you've experienced this before. I remember my whole face felt really, really hot, like flushed, and I could experience, I'm not sure if I really did, but it was like I had sweat just dripping down my face, and my mouth got a little numb. This jazz record was kicking in. I quickly kind of laid down on my couch, and everything kind of it was like I can't recall whether I had my eyes open or not. Probably not, because salvia does tend to put you in a sedative kind of paralytic kind of almost state where you don't really keep your eyes open typically. You're usually going to close your eyes, and sometimes opening them will almost remind you that you're tripping, so it's not a bad thing. But it's difficult to remember to open your eyes. That's my experience. But I remember descending into this other landscape that was completely not this reality, and this feeling like I made this sound like a duck. I was like there was some flappiness on my lips. My face felt I had this sense like there was this duck. It sounds funny, but it was just fucking alarming and weird. And I'd have to contribute it to the music, because the music has that I played, that Oscar Peterson record has this certain, it's called Soul Espanol. Again, great record too, by the way, if you want to pick this up. I'm thinking about doing some album reviews. Pretty good looking gal on the front too. Oscar Peterson, you know, famous jazz pianist. I felt his like keyboards, you know, or his piano playing. When I went into this other place, it was basically like this kind of weird duck land, and everything around it. It was almost like this. I have a consistent experience where I go into like a Sesame Street kind of realm. Some of you have heard my ill-fated Salvia rap, and I republished that actually, because it's not. I think it's kind of funny and stuff, but this going back to like Sesame Street kind of. There's this bright colored, like city landscape. It looks kind of like, I think, Brooklyn or the Bronx, where they shot like Sesame Street, that old 1980s New York neighborhood feel with the red brick and brown brick buildings and the stoops and, you know, all of that. And there's this duck kind of sense, like these flapping kind of walking, like as the music's just going on, and it's a very happy song. Whether it was the first side or the second side, the album's pretty upbeat, you know, and catchy, but it's very, I don't know, it had a sense, it made everything kind of silly. Like, I had this feeling like some old cartoon, like with ducks walking around, like with big, huge feet, and, you know, just absurd kind of shit. Yeah, I'm just reading some of these notes. So yeah, there was just this. Also, when the you know, Oscar Peterson's keyboard technique too. It really, like, I remember seeing the whole street as if it was a fluctuating, undulating, big, huge, like it was a keyboard itself, like it was the keys of a piano, just woo, 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 just to the music perfectly. And it was just really bizarre. I mean, I've taken quite a number of psychedelics in my life, and I think I'm a pretty strong supporter of, you know, psilocybin and taken properly, and I think you can get a lot out of these things. LSD, I've taken that, you know, even mescaline once, which was great. But I kind of realized, yeah, it was also, I see in my notes here, it was like the whole street was sliding and moving in a wave of piano keys, and I could see these old style, like the metal trash cans. Those always remind me of this Sesame Street landscape for some reason. But I kind of realized I could, like, come back just by opening my eyes, sort of. And I was like, oh, psh. And I kind of opened my eyes. And as I was, like, coming back, I was like, wow, I could change this whole landscape with, like, any music I play. I had this weird idea, and I haven't really tried it, because if you know anything about salvia, it's not really, like, I don't really consider it a drug. I think it's like a, you know, it's a plant that was put here by whatever ancient being decided to bestow these things on the planet. That we're probably supposed to gain something out of this. But I realized, like, in my head, I thought, man, I could really, like, change the landscape of a salvia trip just by, you know, changing up finding a really good, and I know a lot of people listen to, like, kind of just pretty basic beats, like low in the background, you know, kind of some of the channels that I used to watch before I ever experimented with this. So yeah, that's basically the first trip that I ever had, and I immediately was having to, I felt like I had to tell people about this, like, because it's just not something you expect, and it's so abrupt. That's the one, I guess, drawback that, I think that's the thing that frightens a lot of people about salvia. When they do it the first time, they do it in a bad setting. They get a bad, it's not a bad trip, it's basically you're fighting. If you have a bunch of people around you laughing and talking and all this noise going around, you're kind of gonna, you're not gonna be able to just roll with it. Some of you seen my videos where I tried to portray in about a 12-minute video. It's god awful boring because I'm just laying there on the couch. What a salvia trip looks like, you know, in a peaceful setting. And it's, if you're able to just relax in a dark room and no music, no television for sure, no phone and none of that. I didn't like the fact that there was a videotaping after I came out of that salvia trip either. When I did that, I felt like, yeah, that doesn't belong here, you know. But yeah, I think if you're in the right setting, you have the ability to maybe just let go a little more and let it kind of happen. And I think you should always start on 5X, or if you can get the raw plant, or you can, God, if you can grow the plant, great. Because I think it's not very hard to grow. It's a pretty basic looking plant. But yeah, so that was my first experience. I have to say, it changed my whole like view on psychedelics. It kind of revitalized like a curiosity in me of LSD and psilocybin truffles, which I'm in Europe, so we can get truffles here. That's what we can get in Amsterdam. You know, we don't have actual mushroom. Well, actually, mushrooms grow here where I live in Ireland, and you can just go pick them during the right season for free. But you didn't hear that from me. I might do a video on that too, because those are great, and it doesn't cost anything. It's kind of fun to go out and hunt. But anyway, we're getting on to a different subject. Thanks for listening, and this is something new. I'm probably not going to doll this video up too much and do a lot of editing, because I just kind of want to see how we go here. I haven't done much work on this YouTube channel, and thanks to all of you guys who are my subscribers. I see you guys, and there's not a lot of them because I haven't really promoted this channel and done anything really with it for a while. But this is something I'm passionate about, so I'm hoping to make more of these. So just, I'm open to any suggestions, guys. If you think I need to add graphics, or that would be cooler, or if you think this setting is good, this is actually kind of a homage to an old advertisement by Maxell audio tapes, where it was Peter Murphy of the band Bauhaus, and actually, at least that was the model in Europe on the advertisements, between two speakers, sitting on like a recliner with his hair blown back by the sound. So that's kind of where I came up with that. So thanks again, guys, for listening, and like and support. Yeah, and if you can subscribe, great. Hey, you stoners and, you know, trip enthusiasts out there, you don't have to be shy about we're all in the same family, and let's keep it real, and we'll see you on the flip side.